Houston Real Estate Radio starts right now.
Welcome to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Shannon Register, and later in today's program, James and I will be answering the real estate questions you called in this past week. If you'd like to have your real estate question answered on the air, give us a call at 281-882-8088, and we'll be happy to answer those on the air for you. We still have a few of those buyer's guide that we can give out to you when you call in, so make sure you give us your address, your mailing address as well, and your name, and we'll send those out as well and answer your questions on the air. Those books are put out by the National Association of Realtors, so we'll send those to you if you're thinking about buying a home. It's a great guide to have. And let's see, also later in the hour, have you thought about buying a second home? We're going to be talking about that, not only buying a second home, whether it's a beachfront property or a home out in the country, but also buying rural land. So we're going to talk about that, having a getaway place to go to on the weekends. This segment of Houston Real Estate Radio is brought to you by The Perfect Light Landscape and Lighting Company. The Perfect Light is located out in the Woodlands, and they can help you decorate for any outdoor event or just improve the look of your home or your outdoor living space. They can do a lot with landscape lighting. Really great people to call if you want any help making your yard stand out, look fabulous, especially if you're having a party. You can find a link to The Perfect Light from our website at HoustonRealEstateRadio.com. And today in the studio, I have David Gornet. He's in the studio with me, and we are going to be talking about a really hot topic that a lot of people have been talking about over the last year, and maybe even longer, the Grand Parkway. Since, especially in my area of the woods, up here close to the Woodlands, there's been a lot of talk about the Grand Parkway and the new segment that's going in up here. So I'm going to talk with David Gornet this segment. And he is the executive director of the Grand Parkway Association. So welcome to the show.
Good morning, Shannon. Thank you for having me out.
So tell us what you do with the Grand Parkway Association.
Well, I'm the executive director, as you noted, and my job is to work with TxDOT to do all the environmental and engineering studies to identify the route, to go out and communicate with the public. This is a great opportunity to be talking to people. We host a number of public meetings and public hearings as we go through the process of identifying where the route would be. And I work closely with the public, with elected officials, with civic groups, and then with the engineering firms that are doing the studies for us so that we can identify a route that we can then put forward, get approval on, and move forward toward construction.
Well, it's been a hot topic this year. As you know, a lot of people have been talking about it. And, of course, there are some people who live in areas where they actually see the construction going on. So, David, how is the expansion of the Grand Parkway going to impact the local Houston economy?
Well, here in the Houston region, if you went back to when the Grand Parkway from Sugar Land to Katy was opened in 1994, it's had a huge impact down there, economically and as well as mobility-wise. Mm-hmm. We're not necessarily building the road to be an economic engine. That's a side benefit. We're building it to respond to the growth that's going on here in Houston. And I would expect that as it continues to expand from I-10 to 290, that's supposed to be open later this year, 290 to 59 North, through the north side of Houston, open in late 2015, that it'll have a very positive impact on the opportunities for growth out here.
You know, there are so many regions around Houston that are growing so fast, and most of it is influx of companies bringing in a lot of employees moving to the area. We've seen a demand on housing in recent months. What is that doing to our transportation? I mean, because right now you can go pretty much anywhere in Houston on a non-travel time, you know, not in the morning, not in the afternoon, but any other time you can get wherever you want to go pretty quickly unless there's an accident. But the travel time during the busiest times of day, you know, your morning traffic going to work and your afternoon traffic coming home, how is that going to be impacted?
Well, right now with all the growth that's going on, you'll see what traffic engineers might refer to as peak hour spreading. As more people are trying to use the roads in that 7 to 8:30 time frame, they realize they have, well, I got to be on the road at 6 or at 6:30, or I may
To get there on time.
Start my trip later,
Right.
and not get to work till 9:30 instead of 9 o'clock, so that it spreads out the load. And the roads are still at capacity. Instead of being at capacity for 1 hour, as they are in some cities, we're at capacity for 2.5, and it may spread to be more like an LA type complex where your peak hour lasts all day long. You see that already in parts of Houston. That growth is great for Houston. As you note, most of our freeways run relatively smoothly in those off-peak hours. But by adding a facility like the Grand Parkway to the region, we're going to give folks another alternative. If you're coming in 45 from the Woodlands area or further north and you need to get over to 290, you don't have to drive all the way down to the Beltway to go over to 290. You can drive the Grand Parkway, get on it at 45, take that over to 290 or down to I-10, and therefore you're reducing some of the congestion that might occur inside of the Grand Parkway. Some of the trips that may be on the Beltway today will relocate out to using the Grand Parkway and allow new trips that may come in to be able to use that. So it'll be a benefit. It'll give you more choices on how you make your trip. You mentioned there's an accident. Well, I'm going to take a different route today, and they can move on to some other route, and we'll have more choices, more options for people.
Sure. David Jarvis from Metro Study was on last week, and one of the things that we talked about, he mentioned a prediction of population increasing, ballooning up to 9 million in 15 to 20 years, and if that happens, it's probably going to cause some major traffic issues. Are there a lot of things in the works that will continue on past this Grand Parkway project to help with that?
Well, the Grand Parkway, adding 4 new lanes of freeway is a big capacity increase. And while it's warranted, those 4 lanes can handle a lot of that growth. The corridor is built wide enough. We're only getting 4 lanes approved. That could be expanded, similar to the way Harris County is currently expanding the Beltway from 3 lanes in each direction to 4 lanes in each direction. The Grand Parkway can be expanded. TxDOT, the various counties or cities in the region have other projects in the work. The Houston-Galveston Area Council has got a regional mobility a list of projects that are planned from now until 2035, all in response to that growth. Now, I've not heard the 9+ million, but certainly the Houston region is going to grow at least by 2035. They were forecasting 8 million or so in the Houston region. 9.5 would be expected as you continue to look out. And the Metro growth or the Metro Study folks that David works with are usually spot on their forecast, particularly for a short term. They do a great job of forecasting where our housing demand is going to be and the growth that's taking place. So we need to continue to invest in infrastructure, just like the growth is going to cause our school districts to have to build some new schools or expand schools. We need to do the same thing with transportation and to get more roads built, get the roads we have improved or widened so that they can accommodate this growth.
It sounds like it's being pretty adequately addressed, which is good.
It's being looked at, but the big factor is funding. We need to
yeah.
make sure, and if you've tracked some of the stuff in our legislature, not everybody likes toll roads. Toll roads don't work everywhere. We need to have other funding. Certainly, there are proponents of raising the gas tax that has been opposed at some levels of the government.
Right.
And then what can the counties do? The counties and cities are strapped for money right now.
The majority of the funding for the Grand Parkway, where is it coming from?
Grand Parkway is going to be built with toll bonds or revenue bonds that the state of Texas is going to sell and repay those from the tolls that are collected on the Grand Parkway.
And it will always have a toll in the future.
It will always have a toll in the future.
Now, is that all segments of the Grand Parkway or just certain segments?
All segments of the Grand Parkway will have some tolling. There's a particular segment down what we refer to as Segment D, the Sugar Land to Katy stretch, that was built back and opened in 1994. That was built as a free facility. Those pieces that are on the ground today, including the overpasses through the Cinco Ranch area, and that will remain free because they were built as free roads. We're not going to to convert that to a toll facility.
Okay.
Fort Bend County is building some bridges down there. Those bridges, just the bridges, will have a toll. So if you want to avoid going through an intersection, you'll pay a toll to go over the bridge, or you can drive like you do today, go up to the traffic light, stop for it if you get caught by it, and avoid paying any tolls. Drive for a free road. But the rest of the Grand Parkway will be a toll road, and those tolls will go to paying the debt service on the bonds. They pay for the operations and maintenance. They'll go into a capital reserve fund so that you can help pay for expansion of the road when it's needed, or replacement of the concrete, because the concrete will wear out in 20 to 30 years.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about consumers? Is there anything as consumers that we can do to affect traffic patterns?
As consumers, we can we have certain choices we make every day. We talked earlier about people leaving earlier for work or leaving later for work. We can consolidate our trips so that as
carpooling
we can carpool. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of transportation demand management choices that we can
Do you
make.
think that employers are going to be open to staggering work hours, or do you think that that's just, I know a lot of employers allow employees to work from home certain days of the week, but one of the things that I've heard is staggering the work hours so that you don't have those rush hour traffic. Do you think that that's something that they'll be open to in the future?
They could be open to that. They're open to that today, but it depends upon the type of business that they have. I happened to be in Mont Belvieu yesterday meeting with some folks at the industrial complexes over there, and they had talked that between them, they had decided to stagger their shifts so that they didn't have a fixed 7 to 3 and then 3 to 11 and 11 to 7 shifts. That one company was doing their shifts at 7, another might do them at 8, and another one might do them at 6, so that everyone wasn't trying to get in and out of that same area at the same time, so that the employers had worked together with their employees, with each other, to try to manage the traffic and better use the roads that they had available there.
Sure. I definitely think that's a good idea. We've talked about that before on the show, and I think it just comes down to, it's not just what consumers can do. It's going to be what consumers and employers and what the communities can do to working together. All right, we've got David Gornet in the studio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back to talk more about the Grand Parkway.